Okay. Hi. 1 second. I just need to fix my camera. Let's see. All right, good. We're all good here. Okay. Yeah, that was a game. Yikes, bro. Bulls started 5 for 5 from 3-point range, and then they weren't able to hit a 3 in the second half until Javon Carter hit like a 3 with like 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. That was really rough to watch for the Bulls because I still think like this is one of those games again where I feel like the ball movement looks pretty solid. Guys are getting some really nice open looks from 3-point range, and we're seeing that guys aren't knocking them down in that fourth quarter. Just the Bulls went cold. If you're wondering, like, well, you got to go and do something else, guys, like you're not hitting your threes. Well, the Bulls had 27 free throws tonight. That is 13 more than the Golden State Warriors. And the Golden State Warriors are usually a team that get the benefit of the doubt. So if you're, a person like me who always is pissed off at the officials, or if you're someone that says that the Bulls need to go and do something else, and, well, the Bulls did something else and they got the benefit of the doubt tonight. They got the free throws. So, that wasn't the issue. The Bulls just started missing all their shots, and the turnovers started to become an issue. And yeah, it was just really frustrating to watch because the defense, well, I don't think it was necessarily like it wasn't necessarily like, I'm not saying like it was good or anything, but the defense overall, I thought it was okay. And yeah, I'm not expecting anything special from this team defensively, but at least looked like they were locked in on like trying to make sure Curry wasn't getting any open looks. They were making Buddy Hield have to dribble off of dribbling, right? Or shoot off the dribble, excuse me. If you don't know, Buddy Hield is a very good catch and shoot shooter. He is not very good off the dribble, no matter what he's shooting. So him just taking one dribble actually just decreases his field goal percentage by a lot. So it seemed like the Bulls really understood the scouting reports for the main guys, but the scouting reports for the two-way, Quinton Post, Guy Santos is just that clearly wasn't ready. Guys didn't seem to know what to do against Moses Moody for whatever reason. I don't know why. Guys just were not ready, and it's really frustrating to see as the 3-point shots started to go down for the Warriors, and guys just clearly were not ready for Quinton Post tonight, which is just so shocking because I think Quinton Post has been on the radar for a lot of people recently. I at least knew about him coming into tonight. And I don't watch Warriors basketball every single day. So I was very shocked at how the Bulls guarded Quinton Post. And clearly they were not ready to guard him, and they were just basically daring him to shoot the shot, which is the incorrect decision against him. So not very happy overall with that sort of effort. I think in that first half, though, just to go to some positives, I think this is honestly the best game in terms of pushing pace from Josh Giddey in that first half. Mostly in the first quarter. I think Giddey was really pushing the tempo in that first quarter, and it led to multiple 3-point shots for the Bulls, and also for him to really penetrate the basket, or to penetrate the paint, excuse me. And that's why I need to see more from Giddey. Like I'm seeing it in spurts from Giddey more recently where I'm like, oh, that was like a good 6 minutes of Giddey pushing tempo. This was an entire quarter, so that's a little bit better, but I need to see it the entire game. Giddey is getting less on-ball opportunities, especially more recently, but I guess with Kobe out, he is playing a little bit more on ball. But whenever he gets those chances, bro, he needs to push tempo and really try to push the pace to see if you could get anything easy at the basket. If you can't, then kick it out to 3-point shooters, which we saw that a lot in that first quarter. Bulls were knocking down a ton of threes in that first quarter. So, and I do think a lot of it was because of Giddey. So that's something that I need to see more from Josh. Overall, a really solid game from Giddey. He hit a pull-up 3-point shot, which he hasn't done in a long time. He also was, I think, playing some pretty okay defense initially. The rebounding was there. He had 8 rebounds, like in very quickly in this game. So that's nice to see. But, as we've talked, I think just for the rest of this team, like, I don't really know if he showed up in the second half. Like, a lot of this team didn't. Some missed shots, some times where I felt like he should have taken the three. He didn't. So it's just kind of frustrating just overall look at when it comes to that for not just Giddey, but just for everybody. It just seemed like everybody just did not want to show up in the second half, and I don't know why. The Bulls just they needed to continue to push tempo and try to get open looks from 3-point range, and they got some looks, and they just seemed to not be ready to knock them down. And defensively, they were lost, bro. In the second half, guys did not know what to do against a different unit that the Warriors started the second half with, and took advantage. Warriors at 80 bench points, which is insane. That's insane for them. The Warriors bench is very, very good, so it's not that shocking to see the bench go off, but it's very annoying to see that the Bulls were not ready for the bench points tonight. Warriors at 83 bench points tonight. I can't believe that we're seeing 83 bench points from this squad. The bench is very solid for the Warriors. I'm not saying that they aren't. I mean, like, you got guys like GP2 and Trace Jackson-Davis in the starting lineup who are mostly bench players. They typically don't close games. But to see, again, Guy Santos, Moses Moody, Quentin Post, just guys that should be on the radar but are clearly not on the radar for this Bulls team, and I don't know why. It's frustrating to watch. And it's really, we could blame the vets again, but it's just yet again frustrating just to see that some of the younger players just don't seem to be ready for some of these other guys. So from some of these, G League guys from like against the Atlanta Hawks, and then Quentin posted a 2-way contract, right? He's also part of the G League for the Warriors. Like these are end of bench guys that are just coming in. Not Moses Moody, but like, Post and Guy Santos, like they're not really getting a ton of minutes this year, and it's just like. It's just frustrating to see that some of these younger players just clearly do not, like, they just didn't read the scouting report, or just they read it and, went out of their brains. Like, I don't know. But I think that, again, I think they were doing fine on Curry. I think they were doing really good on Buddy Hield. They seem to really understand those guys. Against Wiggins also, I think it was pretty okay. But then the bench guys, they just were not ready. And that's frustrating to see. So, again, up and down the rosters, it wasn't just the vets that clearly did read the scouting report or whatever, like just in general. And it's frustrating. So Bulls move on to play the 76ers at home on Saturday, and we'll see who's available for that game on the 76ers side, because I have no idea. But yeah, not great. Not great for the Bulls to end the game this way, and wish we could have seen some better stuff. Because in all honesty, this was a tryout for a lot of these players for the Warriors. I know Vooch has been linked to the Warriors, but it wasn't just him, in my opinion, that's been a tryout for the Warriors. I wouldn't be shocked if they're interested in Ayo Dosunmu. I also thought that if Torrey Craig was available, he'd be another guy, but he obviously isn't. And they're not going to trade for Zach, but I think a lot of people were. A lot of Warriors fans have been made aware of what Levine has done this year, which he had a pretty okay game overall. Which he would have shot some more shots though. But yeah, I thought this was maybe a tryout chance for some of these guys for the Warriors, and they kind of blew it. So not great for Bulls' potential chances of trading these guys. That's what AV breeds. I don't think to play it as far as the score suggests. Just felt like a free shooting disparity rather than a truly bad effort. So I do think that part of it is like the Warriors were just on fire, right? But I do think that the part of it that frustrates me is that they clearly were not ready for Quentin Post. Like they really just thought that he was a fine, just let him shoot the ball. Like that's the part that frustrates me. Like if they were contesting every shot from Quentin Post and running after him to try to get him off the 3-point line, and he just happened to be draining every shot, then I'm like, you know what? Hey, this is just a damn good shooting night for the Warriors. It is what it is. We move on. But there are too many wide open threes for the Warriors tonight. That's the part that frustrates me. And again, it's not like, it's not just like the vets were clearly not ready. It's like these younger guys that I expect these guys to really, again, like all these younger guys should really be feeling the pressure right now because none of their jobs are secure. So it's frustrating to see that some of these younger guys just aren't ready to like actively be a good defender and try hard in a game. But you should be ready for guys like Gui Santos and Quinton Post. Like, you really should be, but they just clearly weren't. You should be absolutely ready when the bench checks in. The Warriors bench is very good. Are they 83 points good per night good? No, but they have a very good bench. And clearly guys weren't ready. So that's the part that just really frustrates me about it. Yes, the Warriors just had one of those nights as well, even without, Klay Thompson. They're still a very good three-point shooting team, which again is something that should be on the scouting report, which is what frustrates me. But yeah, guys just clearly weren't ready for some of these role players to be knocking down some threes when there's 3-point shooters. I mean, they're on the Warriors, for God's sake. Unless you're a center, you're going to be shooting threes on the Warriors, and also if you're not Draymond Green. So I decided I want to post after checking his G League stats last night, and he confirmed that for me just now. Well, I think the issue, if you're a Bulls fan, is that if you're the Warriors, like, why would you trade for Nikola Vucevic if you just have Quinton Post, right? So yeah, I do agree. I think Quinton Post is a very nice player. He's impressed me. I was made aware of him in like the last week when he's, people have been talking about it a little bit more. Yeah, he obviously has been pretty damn impressive, but if you're the Bulls, like, this doesn't feel too good, because if this was supposed to be like the game that convinced the Warriors to trade for Vucevic, I mean, Vucevic did not have a good game. He missed a lot of gimmies at the basket. Defensively, he had 4 steals, I guess, but he wasn't really doing anything great. 3 turnovers wasn't great for him. 6 rebounds isn't good for him either. Not looking great, because if you're the Warriors, it's just like, well, if we need a stretch big, because that's what we've been missing for this entire season, because both Trayce Jackson-Davis and Looney don't shoot the jump shot, then might as well just use Quinton Post. I don't exactly know if they have an available spot on the roster, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. They might make some other trade where they send out 2 guys, get 1 player back, and then they can sign Quinton Post to an actual NBA contract. But I mean, yeah, like, might as well, right? But yeah, Quinton Post, I mean, again, you should be aware of his game. Everyone should have been aware coming into tonight that he's a 3-point shooter. Like, I don't know why the Bulls were just like, no, we're just going to let him shoot it. Vooch wasn't running out after him when he should be. Guys clearly thought that you could just let him shoot the shot, and it's just like, oh, all good. Even Stacey King was shocked when Quinton Post shot his first 3-point shot. He's like, oh, you made it. Wow. I'm like, if you're just aware of this guy, then you know that he's very capable of making these shots. So it's just frustrating as hell, because I don't know why guys are just unaware. Like, you're in the NBA. The scouting report should be given to you. So unless this is just on a scouting, department that's just being bad. But again, a lot of these guys for the Bulls, I just don't think that their job isn't guaranteed. Like, the younger guys for this Bulls squad, they just don't have a guaranteed job moving forward, and I hope that they understand that. But I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves right now. Like, what do you think Dalen Terry did today? Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, Dalen Terry, I mean, people have been praying to God that he'll turn into something, but, he gets 11 minutes tonight, and I'm just like, what the hell did you do on those 11 minutes? Like, you didn't do anything good. You didn't defend effectively when that should be your calling card. You missed a layup that should have been wide open, but that was a wide open layup, and you just flat out blew it after getting me a nice pass to you. Like, he did nothing. Like, Dalen Terry did absolutely nothing today on both ends of the floor, in my opinion. Talen Horton-Tucker, I don't know what the hell he was doing today. He just seems to just be willing to chuck up every shot possible. Not impressed by Julian Phillips, really, but, I mean, hey, at least got 2 more rebounds. Which is basically the same amount of rebounds as Patrick Williams, who played 27 minutes. And yet again, we have to talk about Patrick Williams, which I think, this is one of those games where plus minus does not represent the box score properly, or the game properly, because Patrick Williams did not play good at all today. Patrick Williams was flat out awful yet again today, and yet he's a positive +1 in the box score, which is funny, because it's like, he was not good today. 3 for 11 from the field. He airballed a 3-point shot. He made 1. Defensively, seemed to not know what to do against Andrew Wiggins. Defensive rebounding, he had 3. We need more, though. Not great. So, I don't know, bro. He also blew a layup where he got past Buddy Hield, but yet somehow Gary Payton II did enough to deter his shot at the basket. And I'm just like, what? Like, Pat, I understand you're driving left, but like you're 6'7", GP's like 6'3". Like you gotta be able to like give me a better finish than just banking off the shot off the backboard and not even hitting rim. Not great, you know, not great at all for Pat. So I just, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and just I had a question in mind as stream started, but I was gonna kind of wait for the question to be asked until a little bit later in the stream. But I'll go ahead and ask it now, and I'll ask it later if needed. But you know, Stacey King and Adam Amin were talking about how the bench guys for the Bulls, they need to be played more. And so, you know, Billy Donovan needs to find minutes for some of these guys. And, you know, Stacey King yet again called for Chris Duarte minutes, which Duarte's not even on the road trip with these guys. So I don't know why that's being said. But you know, Stacey King's still saying though, like how, yeah, I agree with Buzelis. Buzelis needs minutes, but he's saying like, you know, other guys like Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, Taylor Horton Tucker, like they need more minutes. Like guys off the bench need more minutes because if you're able to give these guys more minutes and give them confidence, then you might be able to depend on these guys on like a back-to-back night or something, or when the stars just don't have it. And I'm thinking to myself like, look, you know, Stacey King then also went on to say, like, the Bulls have a really solid bench, by the way. Like, there's many guys off this Bulls bench that are very good players. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. I feel like the Bulls bench this year is just, I think it's overrated in terms of what Bulls fans think. I think if there's anything that the bench has told me this year is that the Bulls yet again just still need more talent, and yet people that think that some of these younger players are going to turn into something, like they really need to start rethinking about things, because I don't think this Bulls bench is really that special. I don't. Now, again, let's just go back to if we assume everyone's healthy, okay? So if everyone is healthy and the starting lineup is Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic, then yes, you will have Lonzo Ball and Ayo Dosunmu coming off your bench, which those are two starting caliber players coming off your bench, which that's nice, okay? However, I think Patrick Williams, unfortunately, is a bench player, so that kind of evens out one of those guys. So in reality, you probably only have like one starter caliber player coming off your bench if you account for Patrick Williams, who's in the starting lineup. I agree that I think Montes Buzelis needs more minutes. I mean, we've saw the stat that's been brought up by Stacey King where Buzelis has some of the best defensive field goal percentage around the basket, which is great. I just think that as a what pick was he? I don't even remember, but 10th overall pick, 11th, I forget what it was, but either way, it's just like, yeah, I do think that he needs more minutes for a guy that's drafted in the lottery. But after that though, like, I just don't understand the whole calling card for like, yeah, THT needs more minutes, or Dalen Terry needs more minutes, or Javon Carter needs minutes, or Chris Duarte needs minutes. I already think Julian Phillips his minutes have significantly decreased already throughout the season, so I'm fine with what he's playing. Billy Diamond already closes games sometimes when there's a bench guy out there in the closing unit. So, like, I don't really think, honestly, besides Buzelis, obviously, I really don't think this bench unit needs more minutes. I really don't. I think this bench unit is overrated, especially when there is a guy out. Like, with Kobe being out and having Lonzo in the starting lineup, then, like, the only guy that should be getting significant minutes off the bench is Ayo, and then, obviously, Buzelis should get at least 20 minutes per game. But after that, though, like, I'm just, like, Jalen Smith's nice, but you have Vucevic as the starting center right now, so he's just not going to get as many. But I mean, after that, like, you're already not playing Patrick Williams a lot of minutes, so like, where else are you going to go? Like, sure, maybe you just bench Pat. Like, maybe that's an idea, but I personally don't need to see any more Dalen Terry minutes. I don't need to see any more THT minutes. I don't want to see Chris Duarte. Right, like I just don't think the bench is that great, in reality, and I've been calling out recently a lot that the second unit for the Bulls has had a really big struggle recently, and that's what I consider a second unit is when both LaVine and Vooch go to the bench, because they're on the same rotation right now, LaVine and Vooch, but when both those guys go to the bench, like, it is just bad recently. And it's frustrating to watch because, like, I just think that these guys off the bench, they just don't have any shot creation, and no Kobe obviously hurts that, but yeah, again, I just don't, like, I don't think you can pull a Warriors where, you know, off the bench, you're like, I mean, at least in this game, like, you have a Dennis Schroeder at least, but you have guys that can actually, like, kind of shoot off the dribble a little bit with this Warriors unit, and it's different, right? Billy played 11 deep, not counting garbage time. I really don't get that rank from Stacey. I didn't get it either, honestly. But the thing is, though, is that it's always funny hearing Stacey King say something, and then I go to Twitter immediately, and then I see the exact same thing that Stacey King said by, like, 5 different Bulls accounts. I'm just like, bro, like, this is how you know how much of a chokehold Stacey King has over people's analysis recently, is that whatever Stacey King says, then the people on Twitter just say the same thing. I'm just like, what? Like, bro, I understand everyone loves Stacey King, but, like, we don't need what he says. Like, I seriously don't need it. But the bench obviously falls up a couple of your IR out. There's no magic fix if you guys are making shots. I agree. Yeah, like, these guys off the bench, like, Buzaz went 1 for 6 today, and, like, he, you know, we'll count 2 of those shots in garbage time, but, like, you know, like, Buzaz right now is not a shot maker. THT recently has been pretty bad. I know he had a nice game against the Clippers, I guess, but it's like, THT just comes in, just launches shots, and he hasn't been that good recently. Dalen Terry, bro, I don't see anything special with him. Like, he's missing layups at this point. So, I was interested just because I'm like, well, I mean, raw plus minus, if you're wondering for the Bulls, like, if you're wondering about the stats for raw plus minus when it comes to the bench unit, and again, we'll just go ahead and just say this for now. So if you're wondering about on off, okay, when Zach's off the court, the Bulls are negative 3.8. When Vooch is off the court, they're negative 1.6. It's hard, though, to kind of fully measure that. I don't know if we can, like, do this specifically with lineups, but yeah, it looks like we can't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I can go and find like a second unit lineup, but I basically, though, I decided to pull up this from PvP because I've been using this website a lot more recently. But basically, though, again, I consider the second unit because, like, you know, Giddey is typically in the second unit. Kobe this year has also been in the second unit, and they're both starters, right? So it's not just like, oh, the starters are being good and only the bench unit guys have been bad. It's like some guys in this starting lineup being played with some of the bench unit guys have also just been bad. Like, it's not just like the starting 5 is good and then the next bench guys are just bad. It's just the second unit collectively has been pretty bad. And so, again, I consider the second unit when Levine and Vooch come off the floor. So it's usually around like the 3-minute mark of the first and third quarters is when that unit comes off, and then they check back in with about like 8-7 minutes left in the second and fourth quarters. But I just pulled this up because I'm like, okay, I'm just interested just to see what we're looking at here when it comes to the second unit, you know, when Vooch and Levine are both off the floor. So again, this is basically from in all minutes, all right? So when Levine and Vooch are on the floor together, the net rating is 1.03, okay? So the Bulls are a positive team in terms of offensive rating and defensive rating when both Levine and Vucevic are on the floor, okay? When both of them are off the floor, though, then if you look at this, I mean, the Bulls are basically -5 net rating. The offensive rating drops by 10 when they're both off the floor. The defensive rating increases by about 4, so that's at least okay, but the offensive rating takes a serious dive when both these guys are off the floor. Now, also, though, this is the interesting part to me. When Vucevic is on the floor and Levine is off the floor, I mean, it's a major struggle bus. The defensive rating skyrockets, which is terrible for the Bulls. The defense with this lineup specifically, with Vooch at center and no Zach, like, the offense is bad, but the defensive rating is atrocious. I mean, this is insane to see defensively, where you have Zach is off, but Vooch is on, and the defensive rating is just god awful. Like they're giving up so many easy looks. The opponent 2-point field goal percentage goes up to 60% when it's just Vooch on the floor and LaVine is off. If you're wondering about how many times this does happen, it doesn't happen too often when both of them are playing. But obviously LaVine has missed some games, right? He's missed 5 games this year, and Vooch has not. So you count those minutes though. Right, that's the reason why you see 260 minutes is because LaVine missed some games. And so in those games, though, the Bulls' defensive rating in those games with Vooch on the floor and obviously Zach isn't playing, like, they've been pretty awful. But then when Zach is on the floor and Vooch is off the floor, it's just crazy to look at. The offensive rating is basically the same, like nearly the same as if when both are on the floor. But then the defensive rating is so much better. Like, just having Vooch off the floor with Zach on, like, the defensive rating is insanely better, which I just find so interesting. So, but the biggest thing though is just to take this, okay? Like, take this right here. When both players are on the floor, this is what happens. When both players are off the floor, the offensive rating just takes a serious dive, and it's frustrating to watch because it's like, God. So either way though, like, if you're going to be like, well, Vooch has been bad just by himself, sure, but when LaVine comes off the floor, this Bulls team has a major struggle to score. Like, they just don't know what to do. The defensive rating also for the Bulls, it's funnily enough that, like, it's actually not that amazing for them. Like, it's not like all of a sudden the Bulls get like significantly better defensively when LaVine is off the floor, and then even when Vooch is off the floor and Zach is on, the defensive rating actually is significantly better. So I just question when Stacey King says that, and then I see a bunch of people also saying like, well, we need to see more bench play, like, you know, take minutes away from LaVine and Vooch, like we don't need as many minutes from them. And I'm just like, I understand that, like, both LaVine and Vucevic playing a lot of minutes right now, like, is kind of a little bit pointless at the moment. Maybe you're able to trade Vooch, so maybe it's not as pointless, but, like, at the end of the day, like, if guys are just gonna, if the lineup out there when Zach is off the floor, if the guys out there can't make a damn shot, and defensively they're also not very good, like, I'm sorry, but this is just, it's just straight up bad. I can't have that. If I'm Billy Donovan, if I'm running the Bulls, like, if you're just gonna be that bad on offense where you can't make a damn shot, then I can't just be running just young guys only out there. And again, that even includes some of the starters. Like, that, sometimes the second unit includes Giddey, includes Kobe White. Really quickly though, if you're wondering, like, if I take Vooch off of this, okay, if I go like, here's Zach LaVine only, okay, so again, when Zach is on the floor, they have a 1.8 net rating, okay? But when Zach is off the floor, yet again, the net rating drops down to basically -9, but the offensive rating, it drops down by 10. Like, this is the big issue. The Bulls' offensive rating drops significantly when Zach is just off the floor. That's the problem. And I'm like, I can't, like, this offensive rating, by the way, if you're wondering, like, this is significantly bad. Like, it's not like the worst of the worst, but like a 107 net offensive rating is pretty bad. And it's like, I don't know. I really don't know if this is the case. Like, if we need to take minutes away from Zach just to see some of the young guys go up and put up bricks. I've seen a lot of people complain about Billy not staggering Zach / Vooch more, but this makes it look like Vooch shouldn't be on without Zach at all. Well, I've also called for that. Like, I also thought maybe we should be staggering Vooch and Zach, but yeah, once I looked up these stats, I was just like, man, I don't know, bro. Like, maybe Vooch should not be on the floor without Zach. You might be right, AV Breeze. Like, I'd be very interested to see, because like, if Billy does stagger a game of those two, I'd just be interested to see what would happen, because Zach honestly just himself has just significantly raised the team's offensive rating this year. When he's off, bro, like, it's the team's offense just dies. And so yet again though, it's just like, so again, I'll just refer to this as when LaVine comes off the floor here. LaVine came off the floor with 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter tonight, and the Bulls were up by 8, or sorry, they're down by 8. And in those 2 minutes, the Bulls somehow found a way to be down by 16. Io hit 2 free throws to cut it to 14, but somehow in 2 minutes, the Bulls increased their deficit by 6 points in just 2 minutes. And I'm just like, holy hell. And the only shots that they made were the Io DeSumo free throws. Like, that's the problem when Zach comes off the floor right now. I thought about staggering both, Zach and Vooch, right? Like, here, I'll just go ahead and just do this really quickly. Like, right now, like, if when Vooch is on the floor just himself, like, if he is right now a negative net rating, and it's also a negative net rating when he's off. But yeah, I honestly just think that Billy's gonna have to look into some things where when Zach comes off the floor, like, there has to be like a different sort of game plan or something to try to get some guys some open looks and make some guys have just an easier time out there. I'm interested just to really quickly see this, just because I want to see what Kobe is doing. So this has been kind of the case of what I thought. Now, unfortunately for Kobe, when Kobe is off the floor, Levine is typically on. So this isn't fully telling the whole story for Kobe, because Zach and Kobe's been kind of staggered this year. But interestingly enough, when Kobe is on, they're -3 net rating, but then when Kobe's off, the Bulls are positive. So that's not exactly, if you're looking for an answer, that's not exactly the answer you're looking for the Bulls. Unfortunately, here's the issue, right? Like, when Kobe is on but Zach is off, like I said, like, this has been the stagger this year, and the Bulls are just -12 in terms of net rating when Kobe is on and Zach is off. So yeah, I don't really know what it's going to take for the Bulls to figure out their second unit woes, and I really don't think playing more bench guys is the answer. Should Buzelis be getting more minutes? Absolutely. I think Buzelis continues to not get enough minutes. Billy only did not playing Buzelis in the second half of that Clippers game was an absolute travesty. It was malpractice. If I was the general manager, I'm firing Billy that night, even after that win. But yeah, Buzelis needs more minutes, and like, when Kobe does return, I do think that you're gonna see mostly the lineup of, like, okay, it's gonna be mostly just Io and Lonzo off the bench, and we'll see who else also contributes in that sort of area. But I wouldn't be that shocked if it's just kind of those two guys when Kobe does return, which we don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't know why this is bugged for NBA.com at the moment, but that's interesting. And then I'm hoping for more minutes for Buzelis as, like, the big man off the bench. Jalen Smith will continue to get his typical minutes, but that's kind of it. But yeah, it's really damn frustrating right now, because this Bulls team just clearly they're really having some serious problems when Zach goes off the floor, and guys clearly are not ready to come in and actually be a big contributor. What the hell is happening in this with NBA.com, bro? Like, the Lakers game was fine. The Lakers Celtics, like, is this fine? Yeah, this is fine. What the hell happened? Did I break NBA.com? I don't know. It's just this game for whatever reason. Wait, what the? Okay, this is. Did I fix it? Nope. They're just hella glitched. Like, this is not the correct tabs to be in here. What the hell? I don't know. All right. So yeah, I wanted to just go ahead and just, like, quickly talk about that. And I'm really looking into, like, I mean, once again, I just want to point this out, because Stacey Kingston is going to be like, well, we should be playing our bench more. Like, yeah, Buzelis should be played more. But after that, I mean, again, like, I'd be honestly okay if Dalen Terry never sees the floor again the rest of the season. I just don't think he's been very good. He's had some games, but it's just not worth it right now. To be seeing significant minutes from him. He just isn't a good enough player at this moment in time. So, like, again, like, just some of those guys, like, near the end of the bench, or like that, are kind of getting some minutes right now because Kobe is out. Like, I'm just like, I don't need to see you. Yeah, that's just kind of just what I want to talk about, because one more time, I'm just going to say one more time, I think this team lacks talent. I really do. I think that this team, if you go from top to bottom, like, I understand you have Levine and Vooch at the very top here right now, but I think there's a drop-off between after Vooch at this moment, and it's, I'll say more of this. There's a drop-off after Zach, and then there's a sort of a drop-off after Vooch, because Kobe's your third best player, and I think he also, we're kind of seeing some of the issues with Kobe as a starter. But then after that, I don't think that there's talent from top to bottom. I think the young guys, some of these guys are very overrated. Like, Patrick Williams has been very disappointing. He clearly has just hasn't been very good for most of the season. But he's probably also on the overrated part right now for some people. I think Dalen Terry, there's really nothing there. THT, if you want to count him amongst that, it's just like nothing's really there. Julian Phillips just isn't necessarily ready if he does have any of that talent in him, which we'll see. But even with Julian Phillips, I've always thought of him as a bench player. Like I never thought Julian Phillips could become like a starter. And I think Buzelis right now is has the most potential, but you can tell on offense he clearly isn't ready. In terms of to be a consistent offensive performer every single night. But defensively, I mean, he's been pretty damn good. But again, it's like I think that this team lacks talent. They need to find a way. I don't care how it happens, but they need to find a way at the trade deadline to add more young talent. They just need to find a way. The bench woes should show you enough where it's just like, yeah, this team has a major problem in terms of talent. When Zach is off the floor, they can't score. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They have no shot creation ability, and unfortunately, the 3-point shots for some of them are just too inconsistent, where it's like, yeah, we can't generate offense right now. And defensively, unfortunately, they're not anything special. So I'm just frustrated as hell seeing this sort of stuff. And when Stacey King says we need to play more bench guys, I'm just like, I don't think that's gonna, one, that's not gonna help you win more games, but two, I honestly really do not think that some of these guys deserve more time. Not to mention already, I think Patrick Williams has been getting less time already because, he hasn't played very well. So, I'm just pointing it. I'm just saying this just because I think that it should be showing everybody, hey, the young talent on this roster is not very good. That's just kind of what I'm trying to get to. It's just like the young talent on this roster is not very good. Josh Giddey has been benched to close some games this season. Same with Patrick Williams. Kobe White has had his woes, throughout the year. Io unfortunately has been injured, but he's been the best, honestly, out of all the young guys. But again, Dalen Terry, not very good. Julian Phillips, his minutes have decreased. I don't count THT amongst the young guys. So, younger players have just been disappointing overall this year. Even if like the Bulls were doing the proper tank, right? Seeing that some of these young guys that you would hope to take a step forward and they haven't taken a step forward is just so frustrating. Forget the record for just a second here. Like, the Bulls could be legitimately 0-43 at the moment, and I would not be very happy because it's like these young guys have not done anything. So yeah, you might get the first overall pick if you're like whatever, but the younger players that we were expecting to take a step forward, they haven't. And that's the part that's just so frustrating to look at. At least they just haven't, like, we've seen tiny little spurts here and there of like, oh, here's a nice game, and then here's like a nice play, but it's like, I need to see more consistency. I don't need all 82 games. I just need to see like a little bit more in terms of consistency from some of these younger players to show like, hey, yeah, we've taken a leap. And it just hasn't happened, bro. So yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see what happens this trade deadline. I don't know what the hell is happening with NBA. Okay, there we go. We're fixed. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens at the trade deadline. I know the Warriors are one of the teams the Bulls are talking to right now. Obviously, the Vooch talks, we'll see what does happen with it. Once again, I just don't know if big contracts are going to get moved. And unfortunately, right now, with the new CBA, $20 million is a lot of money. Which is stupid. So I don't know if Vooch is going to actually get moved, and if the stupid Bulls front office still want a first-round pick for him, which is just like, why? I understand playing hardball with Levine at the moment. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Zach's having an all-star caliber season, so it's just like, you know what? If you don't get anything for Zach, just write out the contract. That's fine. But when it comes to Vooch, bro, for an aging 34-year-old center who doesn't play defense, you should be willing to take 2 second-rounders and a salary filler. That will be a win, at least in my book, because you at least traded the man when last year there was no way in hell he was getting traded for what he was doing last year. So the Bulls needed to just go ahead and pull the trigger on that if that is available, which I think is. And I hope that some of the young other guys like Torrey Craig, like maybe even Kobe White, are dealt here. And I wouldn't be that opposed to it. I hope it does happen. Ideally, Levine does get moved, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But I won't lie. If Zach does get moved, and along with Vucevic, Torrey Craig, maybe even Lonzo, etc., I would not be shocked if this Bulls team just suddenly just goes way down in terms of win percentage. Like, they're already kind of on a really bad run. Like, that Clippers win was, stopped the 5-game losing or 6-game losing streak, I think, or whatever it was. But we might see, if that does happen, bro, with, again, the lack of talent I've been saying on this roster, I just think that this Bulls team will just, the offensive rating is going to take a massive dip, and the team as a whole is just going to look so bad. We would see so many bad L's what if that does happen, assuming that like you're not going to get like a good young prospect in any of these trades, so you're just going to get like future draft capital. But if that does happen, bro, holy crap. So that's got me angry. Can't wait for the rematch, which is February 8th. What part about it angered you though, Parker? Because like, at least for me, yet again, I'm just looking at some of these younger players. Like, shout out to Giddey because he had a nice game tonight. But again, Patrick Williams, what the hell are you doing? Buzella's not that great of a game. Dalen Terry, I'm just like, what? Like, what was that? THT bad. Phillips not great. Like, obviously Vooch didn't play too good, but it's like, I just feel like this is yet again another one of those games where it's like the younger players just I'm really questioning, and it's also one of those games where Zach wasn't taking a lot of shots, right? Like Zach took 13 shots. He only took 10 shots through the third quarter, which I'm just like, okay, other guys need to like show me something, and they just didn't. Bulls have no direction. Yep, welcome to the Reinsdorf Run organization. No direction, but we sell tickets. Bulls need a coach who can teach these young players. I won't lie though, Woodage. As much as we want to say that Billy Donovan isn't teaching some of these young players, I just think that these young players lack talent. Like I really do. Like, if there's one thing recently that has shown me that with this Bulls roster, like the young players just lack talent. And so sure, maybe a better coach gets like the most out of these guys, but like, I don't really know what the most out of Dalen Terry is going to look like. I just think that he might just be bad. And that's the frustrating part. Like, you could put the best coach ever out there for Dalen Terry, and I just think that we might still be seeing the same results as we're getting today. So again, I just don't think what Stacey King said at the end of the game where it's like, we got to be playing our bench more. It's like, I don't think that's going to be fixing, one, the recent losses, but two, the problems this Bulls team has when Levine goes to the bench and they can't score the damn basketball. Like, Zach is basically the entire offense at this moment. I trade Vucevic for Stewart and anybody else for a salary for maybe a second round pick. I mean, I would trade Vucevic for Stewart in a heartbeat. Would the Detroit Pistons do that? Absolutely hell no. Like, they would not trade Isaiah Stewart for Vucevic. There's no way. Unless they're like actively planning something else, that's just a terrible trade for them. Like we saw from Montes, a lot of rookie mistakes, but that's because he's a rookie. I think on offense, unfortunately, it wasn't exactly the greatest today. Rebounding, I think, has been pretty okay from him recently, so I'll take that. And unfortunately, we saw some defensive mistakes, but when he doesn't have defensive mistakes, he's been pretty solid. But yeah, I think this was kind of one of his more not exactly that great of games today. But again, though, that's not me saying I want less minutes. I think Montes, I want to make it clear. When I say that the younger players don't necessarily deserve minutes, like, Montes deserves 20 minutes a game at bare minimum. Like, that's the one guy that I'm just like, yeah, he has the most potential out of all these young guys, from at least from what I'm seeing. He needs to obviously play more. But again, like Dalen Terry, I'm like, I don't know. Like, nothing seems to be that amazing. Most young players are second round picks, so very little expected from them, really. I mean, I was also a second round pick, and I think he's played a lot better than Dalen Terry, who was a first round pick. So, I don't know. That's just at least my opinion. I know Julian Phillips was a second round pick, so sure. But Patrick Williams was a 4th overall pick. Like, he needs to be better. To answer your question, I was thinking about the deficit in the Bulls' lack of scoring punch in the second half. Yeah, lack of 3-point shots was frustrating. And defensively, they obviously weren't locked in. Which, they kind of really weren't locked in all, like, they weren't fully locked in all game, but I do think that they did a good job against the Warriors starters, but they were not ready for the Warriors bench for whatever damn reason. Quinton Post should be on your radar. Like, I knew about Quinton Post heading into this game, and I don't watch the Warriors every single day. Like, that's, I knew that. I knew about him, but yet the Bulls somehow didn't know about him. So whether it's on the scouting staff or just being absolute dog shit at their jobs, which I wouldn't be shocked at, or it's just on the players for not reading their scouting report or just not listening to the scouting report. I don't know what it is, but it's just frustrating to see. Which would be big off the bench for the Pistons. That's just my opinion. But why would you trade for a guy that is making $20 million a season to come off your bench like Vooch? Like, Vooch needs to start if he's going to have any sort of impact. And that, I mean, you're trading for a guy that has 2 years left in his contract, making $20 million or more each season. Not to mention he doesn't play defense. So, I don't know. I don't really think it makes much sense in my head. Would I take Isaiah Stewart for Vucevic? Absolutely, bro. I would immediately take Isaiah Stewart for Vucevic, but why would the Pistons do that? There's no reason for them to do that right now. I don't see why THC minutes or DT minutes or Montez. I agree. Yeah, I don't really understand that at all either. Like I said it, I can live without DT minutes right now for like the rest of the season. He has not shown me really anything this year that's like, yeah, you've improved. He had like an okay start where I was just like, hey, you know, better ball control in terms of your ball handling. You know, we saw a little bit better overall defense, and then we had some games where he was finishing better at the basket, but then it's like, you know, I always talk about consistency, but that hasn't been there, unfortunately. And yeah, the Bulls need to find a way to just get any sort of picks just to get more young talent. Again, I don't care if it's second rounder, just get picks. Bulls need to decide what they want to do, either blow it up or try to get something to pair with Zach and try to make a run. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch. Are they going to... I do think that they're trying to sell Zach still, so that kind of tells me that they're not going to keep Zach, but the way they're going about it right now in terms of trying to sell off their vets, I just hate it. But yeah, bro, I'm just gonna go ahead and just point this out one more time because this is the stuff that I've been looking at. But I mean, right now though, just because what people have been talking about, like, because, you know, what Stacey King said at the end of the broadcast kind of triggered me a little bit, but it's also just what people have been saying from some of the Bulls' younger players for a bit now. This Bulls team, like, the reason why I predicted 31 wins for this Bulls team, even knowing that Levine and Vucevic could be on the roster, and I said Zach would have a good year. The reason why I said 31 wins was because I saw, at least what I was looking at, I'm like, I saw the lack of talent on this roster. Like, I saw that the bench was not going to be very good. And I looked at some of these guys, and I'm just like, I don't know if you're going to make any sort of jump. And I'm looking at some of these stats, and I'm just like, wow, like, if Zach wasn't on this Bulls roster, like, holy hell, bro, like, we might actually be with, like, where the Wizards are right now, or at least where the Hornets are, because, like, just if you're wondering, when Kobe is on the floor and Levine is off the floor, the Bulls have a negative 12 net rating, because there's an offensive defensive rating. They're negative 12, okay? Like, you know, people were talking about Kobe being, you know, taking Zach's spot and being the number one option, and, like, you know, imagine if he was able to go off every single game, like, we'll be just fine. And I'm like, bro, if Zach wasn't here right now, the Bulls would look awful. Like, we're talking like at a ridiculously bad offensive rating if Zach wasn't here right now. That's the reason why I'm just like, that doesn't make me feel too good. Like, I don't understand the thought process of, like, oh no, these young guys just need the vets to get off the roster. We've said it constantly with Patrick Williams that, like, you know, it's not that DeMar DeRozan needs to get off the roster. Like, the Patrick Williams just needs to play better, and he just hasn't done that. But again, like, the Bulls' offensive rating when Levine is off the floor, they are a 107 offensive rating when Zach doesn't play is just like, oh my god. that is an insanely bad offensive rating. The 3-point field goal percentage drops by 6%. Like, and unfortunately, the defensive rating, it actually gets worse when Zach's off the floor. So it's just like, God, bro. Like, it's just bad. It's just so bad when Zach is off the floor, and I'm just looking around. I'm like, guys really need to show me something different for like the last half of the season here to like be like, oh, I can trust that you'll be part of this core moving forward. Again, I've already talked about who I think I want to keep. Like, you know, Buzelis, obviously I'm keeping. Like, I don't expect him to have like a major impact this year, but defensively he's already been pretty damn good. I would personally like to keep Io, but if you're gonna be willing to trade him, that's fine. Like, I don't like need to keep him, but I would personally keep him. And yeah, I'd be hella interested to look at trading kind of everyone else. Is there a way to exclude garbage time from on-off stats? The best I can do is just exclude low, so I'll hit everything else, but we'll do this. In terms of NBA.com on-off stats, I don't know if it's possible, unfortunately. And once again, it's like, here you go. So we got rid of the low leverage. So if you want to count that as garbage time, then sure. But again, either way, it's like when Zach's on the floor, they have 118 offensive rating. When Zach is off the floor, they have 105 offensive rating in medium, high, and very high leverage. Like, that's insane. That is insane to look at. 105 offensive rating is just genuinely bad. That is awful in today's era. You can't have that in today's era. The 3-point percentage drops significantly, drops by 7%. The defensive rating is actually worse when Zach's off the floor in these sort of situations, which is just crazy just to think about. Yeah, not great. Not great at all. And again, if you're wondering, if you want to just do only high leverage, okay, so we'll do high and very high leverage, okay? Here's the numbers. The net rating skyrockets for Zach because the defensive rating actually increases, and then there's this. But this is high and very high leverage is crunch time. So I personally don't always look at this, but if we just want to go and just in general, so like if we just want to be like only medium, then like yet again. So this is not crunch time. So if we're gonna be like taking away, you know, the numbers from like, you know, like the bench guys really don't play in crunch time, okay? But if we're just be taking away that, then here are the numbers still. Like the offensive rating is dreadful with Zach off the floor. Like it's insane. In terms of NBA.com, that's a hard thing to look at. Oh, sorry, we already had this up actually. You know, here's on-off court. This doesn't always show you the best thing because it's like, you know, I mean, yeah, like this has been consistent. When Lonzo's off the court, the Bulls have been a much worse team. Let's see. Yeah, when Zach's off the court, they're negative 3.8. And it's not perfect, right? But you know, it does kind of show some sort of story because like this has been true. When Patrick Williams has been off the court, the Bulls have just been better this year. That is true. Unfortunately, you can't really like be like, oh, let's only do like, you know, get rid of garbage time. That has to be done by another website. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's hard to look at in terms of this sort of stuff here for NBA.com, which obviously NBA.com is very helpful. I just want to really quickly look at something, just really quickly. I mean, we've only seen one game from that lineup. Okay, hold on. I just want to see like a well-used lineup here. I mean, let's just use this lineup. Like Kobe White, Jalen Smith, Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips. Like they're shooting in 12 games. Okay, that lineup's played in 12 games together. They're shooting 36.6% from the field and 29% from three-point range. Like, they can't score. This is a little bit better. I mean, they're positive 7 here, so that's nice to see. But I want to see. Okay, I mean, let's look at this lineup. So you have Kobe White, Jalen Smith, Ayo Dosunmu, Josh Giddey, and Julian Phillips. Like we've seen that before. We've seen that in 11 games, and they're shooting 32% from the field and 16% from three. Like, that's god awful. And then this is another lineup we've been seeing. It's like Giddey and Kobe White in the second unit, with Terry, Smith, and Buzelis, and they're shooting okay, but not great from 3-point range. They're negative 0.2. So it's just like some of these lineups again, bro. It's like holy hell. I don't know what to do. Just want to really quickly just look at the. Oh, I'll show this, but then I'll also go to PvP for just a second here. Where is Giddey and Kobe White? Because that's what I'm looking at specifically. Okay, they're negative 0.7, so this is still an issue. Alright, we'll get rid of Zach for just a second here. Okay, so when they're both playing, they're negative 4 net rating. Unfortunately, when they're both off the floor, the Bulls have been better somehow. That's just crazy to look at. Like, this is insane just to see. When both Giddey and Kobe White are off the floor, the net rating skyrockets to 120. And at least to me, that's enough minutes. Like, I mean, 269 minutes, that's enough minutes. If that was obviously like only like 80 minutes, and maybe we have an issue. Like, we don't take that to face value, but like that's enough minutes at least. Let's see. Where is? I'll just do Josh Giddey only. Let's just look at that. Yeah, so I mean the Bulls are not amazing with Giddey on, and then they're still not great with him off, but it's a little bit better overall. Io though, this has been the lineup that people have been wanting a little bit more, so they are. Let's see. So unfortunately, the net rating in this has been bad. This though, So these two players are better when they're not playing with each other. That's great. I'll just do Io alone, unfortunately here. So when Io's on, they're negative. Like, yeah, not great for Io stats either. Their Bulls are better when he's off. Again, it's not perfect, but it just really shows you, like, holy hell, there's some issues with that second unit. I mean, I think the best guy, honestly, just to look at it just a second unit is just Jalen Smith, and I don't think this is necessarily his fault, but, like, Jalen Smith is basically only in the second unit, and, like, you can just tell, like, the offensive rating when he's on the floor, which is the second unit lineup, like, this is just bad. Like, 108 offensive rating, like, it's better than 105, but it's just bad. I still have leverage filter. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Still bad. We'll do this though. We'll check everyone again. So here's just Kobe alone. Still not great. Oh boy, this is not good. Both Kobe White and Josh Giddey off the floor. The Bulls have 119 offensive rating. Yikes, that's not good to see. Josh Giddey alone. Wow. And we'll just go over Io Sumo again. Yeah, so these players are just better when they're both like when one's on and the other one's off, and then Io alone here. It's a little bit better, but not amazing. The defensive rating is still 120, which is not good. Yeah, bro. I don't know. Zach obviously has just been, Zach offensively has been just that good this year. So, like, I understand that there's that, but I really do think also it's important to keep in mind, like, as good as Zach has been offensively this year, I also don't think, like, he's not Luka, he's not Jokic, okay? And the other guys need to just be better. So, yeah, it's going to have to be better from some of these other guys here. Well, should have kept Javonte Green, Andre Drummond, and Caruso. Those three guys were three of my favorites from last year's team. So, here's my thing. I think Caruso needed to be traded. If the Bulls were not going to give him that contract that he got in OKC. Did I like the trade? No, I think the trade was awful. The Bulls should have traded him before the offseason. They should have traded him at the deadline last year, but they didn't. So I'm not necessarily upset that you traded Caruso. It's just, I'm pissed off at the trade itself. Javonte, I could understand because he would be on a minimum. The problem is, like, I guess they didn't trust his leg because Javonte had a leg issue kind of throughout the season, and so like he wasn't really able to play consistently. So I think that's why he wasn't brought back. Andre was also another guy that needed to be traded, and they didn't trade him. Like the 76ers were offering multiple second round picks for Andre Drummond apparently last trade deadline, and they just didn't take it, which is ridiculous. Because you probably knew he was going to leave in free agency anyway. But that being said, it's just like as much as having those three guys around would be nice, right? Like if your whole idea is to develop some of these younger players, like they'll just be taking up minutes from those guys. And unfortunately, though, it's not like these guys are going to suddenly make the younger players better either. So I don't know. I can understand Javonte, but after that, I don't know, bro. I think it's kind of honestly time for those other vets to move on. What would have more impact from Pat? 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6 points, 10 rebounds. Assuming his defense, etc., remains the same either way. So it matters, at least in my opinion, what level of defense he's playing. So like if he's playing solid defense, then I think the 10 points and 6 rebounds is probably a little bit more impactful. Okay. But as long as, if we're talking about what Pat's currently doing now, right, where I think Pat is not playing that great of defense recently, he seems a little bit slow, he's a step slow on some stuff, then I would pick the 6 points and 10 rebounds, because the Bulls right now recently have not been a good rebounding team, and I think Pat has been part of that. And him getting 10 rebounds, at least in my head, he would at least get some offensive rebounds. And I think that's obviously very impactful. So, if he's playing solid defense, then it would be 10 points and 6 rebounds. But if we're talking about what the level of defense he's playing right now, then I'll take 10 rebounds every day and have him just be more of what Josh Hart does, obviously. Which Josh Hart is a damn good defender too. So in an ideal world, like Pat doesn't necessarily need to score a bunch of points. If he just gets 10 rebounds every night and plays good defense, like, yeah, we'll take it. Josh Hart, though, is a better scorer than Pat, even though he isn't necessarily a scorer. Like, it's just bad from Patrick Williams, just all around. Straight up just an unimpactful player. Like, people think Levine is a stats player and it just doesn't impact the game. Like, go watch Patrick Williams, for God's sake. Patrick Williams doesn't put up the stats, but he's also just straight up and bad. Like, you don't think you don't think Patrick Williams is that impactful? Well, the stats don't back you up, and then everything else also shows that the Bulls are just better when he's off the floor. Yeah, I'm frustrated, bro. I'm fine with losses, bro, but the way that some of these losses have happened, where the younger players just aren't really stepping up. Again, shout out to Giddey. I think Giddey had a nice night tonight, so my flame isn't towards him necessarily, but with Kobe out, like, guys are gonna have to step up because as much as Kobe hasn't exactly been the best this year, he is a guy that handles the ball a lot. So guys are gonna have to step up with Kobe being out. Guys are gonna have to really pick up their game and be ready to take some of the ball handling responsibilities. So whether that is Giddey or Lonzo or Ayo or whoever, I don't care. Guys need to step up and be ready. And then the second unit, bro, like, I don't know what the hell Billy Donovan's going to be doing. I even tweeted out during the game that I thought that maybe we need to start staggering Levine and Vucevic, but the numbers say that that's not going to help you either. So, no, bro. Maybe you might honestly need to stagger Levine and Lonzo. I know Lonzo's starting, but honestly, I think Billy even did that today. Like, he put Lonzo in the second unit for a bit. Like, yeah, I don't know. The team's just cooked. The team is cooked when Zach is off the floor. So maybe we just need to we'll just ride it out, I guess. Alex Stoneman restriction hurts too. He's not really a guy who could get you extra scoring when the starters. I agree. Yeah. Which again, Io's overall numbers don't look exactly amazing this year in terms of on-off rating, but I do think still with Io, the fact that he shoots 49% from the field and he's still averaging, I guess it's close, it's not no longer a career high, but it's close to a career high in terms of points per game. Like, I would hope that he'd be a guy to kind of help in terms of, he is actually still averaging career high in terms of points per game, but he'd be a guy to, I would hope that he would help in terms of the scoring with Kobe being out, and just help a little bit more overall. I know the defensive rating isn't great for him, unfortunately, but he's also been part of the second unit a decent amount this year, which shows, as we've been talking about, the Bulls' second unit has been bad. He's part of that. Not saying that he's just an excuse from it, but I don't necessarily think he's the problem. Second unit just as a whole is just an issue. All right. Sorry. Oh, I've actually gone on for an hour, bro. I'm losing track of time with some of these West Coast games, so I'm glad that this little West Coast trip is over. I know the Bulls have to go out west again later in the year, but thank God this little West Coast trip is over, because I hate staying up watching basketball until like midnight, and you know, with the Bulls at least, it hasn't been exactly that amazing. Like, you know, I'll stay up to watch a nice game, but like, I won't lie, bro. I feel like this might honestly be like my calling card. Like, hey, you're getting old, Duncan. I mean, bro, I'm 23, which, you know, I'm not old, but I'm getting old person tendencies already, because I'm just like, I need to go to bed already. So yeah. Apologies for the kind of rant to start the stream, but some of the stuff that Stacey King says, I'm just like, I have to say my own piece first before I can even get into anything. And what Stacey King said at the end of the broadcast, where he's like, we gotta play the bench more, I'm just like, God, bro, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I just disagree with almost everything Stacey has said this year, which is very funny. Like, if you're wondering, by the way, just really quickly, just to show you what I've been like, how much Stacey King bothers me this year. Okay, so Stacey King continues to say that Zach LaVine is like, catch and shoot is the most important thing for Zach LaVine, and I'm like, well, look, I understand what you're saying. I think Zach LaVine is still a very good catch and shoot shooter. As you can see, when he does get those chances, he is shooting 44 or 45% from three-point range on catch and shoot opportunities. But when Stacey King then is just like, Zach needs to stop, you know, shooting off the dribble threes. Like, I'm like, Zach LaVine this year has been one of the best players in the NBA in terms of off the dribble three-point shots. He has been one of the best players in terms of pull-up three-point attempts this year. He is shooting better on pull-up threes than catch and shoot threes this year. Okay. Like, I just, that just, it's just some of those things where I listen to Stacey, I'm just like, what the hell are you saying? Like, yes, Zach LaVine is a fantastic catch and shoot shooter. He has pretty much been his entire career, but Zach is also, has, for most of his career, has been a very capable off the dribble shooter. This year, though, specifically, he has been phenomenal off the dribble. That's the biggest thing he worked on this offseason, was shooting off the dribble on three-point attempts specifically. And like, it's paying off. Like, he's a damn good three-point shooter off the dribble. So, like, you know, the whole talk that, like, we need to run, like, Klay Thompson sets for him. Like, yeah, that'd be nice, but, like, that doesn't mean that we should stop running the pick-and-roll sets for Zach, where he's able to take the step-back three-point shots. Like, we should actually be seeing more of that. Because Zach's recent three-point attempts per game have gone down, unless you discount the Clippers game. But, yeah, it's just those little things that's just, like, as much as I appreciate Stacey King overall, this has not been his best analysis overall this year. In terms of just how he tries to do analysis. My issue is almost less with Stacey, more with the fan base taking his narratives and running with them without question. Yeah, maybe that's more my issue too, but yeah, maybe that is more my issue too as well. Yeah, I'll say it. Yeah. Again, I'm not here to say that I'm right and Stacey King is wrong, but when the stats specifically say that whatever Stacey King or whatever the fan base runs with from Stacey King is wrong, then it's a problem. I think that the fan base gets, like, falls in love with, like, certain younger guys or, like, certain players because Stacey King fell in love with them, and it's just like, bro, like, please. I understand that there are people that love certain guys, and, you know, there are obviously some players that some fans love that aren't from Stacey King, you know, loving that player. But yeah, overall, it's just bad. Where you, like, you know, you hear certain things over and over again of, like, oh, the Bulls should be doing this with this guy, or this guy needs more minutes or whatever, and it's because Stacey King said so. It's like, bro, like, I understand this guy has such a big chokehold over the fan bases of analysis, and his game calling is one of the best. He's an Emmy Award winner. Like, I get it. But at the same time, like, there are people with big platforms like Kendrick Perkins, and I think everyone understands to not listen to Kendrick Perkins talk basketball. Like, that man is being paid by ESPN a lot more money than Stacey King's being paid, probably. And he, you know, everyone understands to not listen to that guy. But yet, somehow, when it comes to Stacey King, like, I get it. He's the Bulls, you know, color commentator, but there's just things where I'm just like, we don't need to listen to him. Like, he'll say his part, he'll say his thing, he'll say his great nicknames and come up, you know, with the crazy fun things like the boozy vert, you know. Like, I get it. But when it comes to actually saying, like, the Bulls need to do this, the Bulls need to do this, I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I just, most of the time I find myself disagreeing with him. And I've been telling people consistently, I'm like, have you ever listened to a Bulls broadcast? Like, whatever Stacey King says, just don't listen to him. Like, straight up. My friend David, who's an Orlando Magic fan, David's not in Orlando, but whenever he watches the Bulls versus Magic game, he tends to always get the Bulls broadcast on League Pass. It's just kind of how it worked out for him. But he's like, he always, like, every now and then he'll, like, send me a message just like, did you hear what Stacey King just said about, like, you know, Stacey King's just like, yeah, like, this guy, like, the Bulls need to give this guy a 2-piece or something. Like, when Grayson Allen, like, fouled Alex Caruso on that play where Caruso broke his arm, like, Stacey King actually did say after that, it's just like, the Bulls, someone needs to go over to Grayson Allen, give him a 2-piece. And it's just like, you know, at that moment, like, I just kind of shrugged it off. Like, I heard it, but I was just like, eh. But when I think about it now, I'm just like, holy crap. Like, yeah, I can't believe that NBC Sports Chicago at the time was like, yeah, that's fine for Stacey King just to say that. Stacey King just says, yeah, someone should go up to Grayson Allen, give him a 2-piece. Like, that's insane, bro. Like, and then here's the thing, though, just to go along with your point, AV Breeze, everybody then from the fan base is going to run with that and say, yeah, someone from the Bulls should give Grayson Allen a 2-piece. Like, I hate Grayson Allen just as much as anybody, but, like, we don't need to go around saying, yeah, Grayson Allen needs to go get a 2-piece from one of the Bulls players. Like, yeah, does Grayson Allen should be punched in the face? Maybe. Like, I hate the dude, but nobody from the Bulls needs to go and get suspended just because it's Grayson Allen. Like, we don't need that, you know? And Stacey King just saying that on broadcast is just like, what the hell? Like, that sort of stuff is just insane. I also know that everyone loves to listen to his Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. Like, I understand that that's a big thing. I always say, if you ever listen to it, be ready for some weird takes, but that's just my opinion at the end of the day. So once again, I do apologize for this being a Stacey King rant post-game show, but unfortunately that's what we have to do here, because it's just been disappointing overall from stuff that I hear from Stacey King. And yeah, I don't know, I just agree with a lot with what he says, so hope you respect my opinion as I try to respect Stacey King's opinion about stuff. Yeah. All right. Bulls play 76ers on Saturday at the United Center. Bulls are going to be back home. So interested to see how this game's going to go for the Bulls and the 76ers, because Embiid's not playing, obviously. 76ers are on a 7-game losing streak heading into this game. I genuinely do not know who's going to be available. Maxey might play, but I would not be shocked if PG's out. There's been talks that Kyle Lowry's already out. I obviously know Jerry McCain. Excuse me. Yeah, like, there's gonna be a lot of guys out for this game for the 76ers, so wouldn't be shocked. However, unfortunately, because I am that person that wants to keep the pick, this is kind of a big game. In a perfect world, at least in my head, the 76ers get past the Bulls in the standings, because that'll give the Bulls a better chance of keeping their pick this year. So I would personally look into this as, like, you know, if the Bulls end up losing this one, I wouldn't be that upset. However, I don't think that's going to happen, just because, yeah, Embiid is out, and we'll see if Paul George is available. I don't know if he is or not. Not to mention that they're going to have other guys out too. So I would not be shocked if the Bulls just win this one and create a bigger gap between them and the 76ers in the standings. And it's just going to pretty much solidify the Bulls as like, yeah, you'll be the 9th worst team heading to the lottery, and just pray to God that you don't fall back 2 spots in the lottery. Because unfortunately right now, the Portland Trailblazers are closer to the Bulls than the 76ers are. That's not great. That is not a good sign in terms of the win column, I should say. So... yeah, not great overall. So interested to see how this game goes. Hoping for just better play from the younger players. Like, again, I don't need like anything spectacular, but I just need to just see something better. Giddey had a nice night tonight, so shout out to him. So like, that's nice. Hopefully he can like do something similar against 76ers. But again, no Patrick Williams. I don't know where the hell he is. Dalen Terry did nothing today. I think you know, Taylor Horton-Tucker's not been good. Julian Phillips hasn't been great recently, but he's given more effort than Patrick Williams at least. So I'm just asking for more please, from the younger players. Just give me more so that we're not watching only the vets just go on and keep the Bulls in the game. Because that's just not like, as much as I love watching Zach go and scoring guys, like, the younger guys need to show me that they could be a part of this core moving forward, and they just haven't done that in this year. And it's frustrating. So I'm hoping just for some better play overall. No Kobe White for the Bulls, as that has been confirmed that he is at least out until at least Sunday. At least I don't know when the Bulls play after. I think the Bulls play then again on Monday. But I'm gonna assume that he's also not gonna play on Monday against Denver here. So not sure when Kobe's gonna be back, but hopefully he can get well rested up soon, because we hear the term bone bruise, and Kobe has a bone bruise, and I'm just like, oh god, that's not great. And of course it's right before the trade deadline. Yay. This kid from the Bulls has been looking forward to spring training Schultz season. Yeah. Yeah, really quickly, this will just be between me and AV Breeze here, but yeah, Noah Schultz will be getting an invite to spring training, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. Hagen Smith should also be getting an invite as well. So I am really looking forward to spring training. Do I think the White Sox will be good? No, but they should obviously win more wins. They should have more wins than last year, because last year was a historic loss season. So you could simulate that season like 100 million times, and I still don't think the White Sox would lose a 41 game or win only 41 games. So yeah, looking forward to it. Yet again, though, I hate that I'm the fan of the two Reinsdorf own organizations in Chicago. Like, I hate that. I am a fan of both, but I am, and I hate it though. But yeah, I hope Noah Schultz is going to be able to go to spring training and just hopefully pitch well. So yeah, looking forward to that. That being said, though, Bulls content will not be stopping even when the White Sox start playing. The content will not be stopping on this channel, so stick around here for the rest of the Bulls season. So I want to say thank you guys for checking in on the stream tonight. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. It helps me out a lot. Bulls fall to the Warriors tonight. Not in great fashion. Younger guys didn't play too great. Not good defense, so frustrating to watch overall. So go ahead and tune in on Saturday night at 9:30. We'll have our typical post-game stream here after the Bulls take on the 76ers, and we'll see if the Bulls can just play better in that game, okay? Especially for the younger guys, just play better, please. I'll gladly appreciate that if they just do. All right, make sure you hit the like button on the stream. You have no idea how much it helps me, and I'll see you guys next stream, y'all. All right, peace out, be safe, stay warm, peace.